Hello again. I'm privileged to be chatting with you again today. Thank you for giving me your time and attention. In return, I will be chatting about something that's transformed my life over the last few years. Something called mindfulness. Now, I'm not going to lie. When I was a teenager, I thought that mindfulness, meditation, spirituality, all that stuff, I thought all of it was an absolute steaming heap of shite. That's the truth. So if you're feeling exactly like I felt, I don't blame you. However, I invite you to hear me out in this chat. Last week, I tried to convince you that your mind matters and that arguably it's the only thing that matters. If you found that even remotely interesting, stick with me today. What I'm going to talk about is something I like to call a workout for the mind. So let me begin talking about mindfulness by saying what it isn't. Mindfulness isn't about emptying your mind or clearing it. Ultimately, mindfulness is a matter of attention. Being able to clearly attend to the objects of consciousness. What is an object of consciousness, I hear you ask. So, an object of consciousness can be a thought. It can be a feeling. It can be an itch. Sometimes it's easy to put words on, and sometimes it's difficult. For instance, feeling hungry is easy to put words on. I feel hungry. Works fine to convey what's going on in your inner world. But the feeling of grief, the feeling of somebody close to you dying, that can be a lot more difficult to put into words. Objects of consciousness can also be things that you pay attention to. The most common one that's used in mindfulness meditation is the breath. The typical instruction in mindfulness meditation is something like the following. Direct your attention to the breath. When other objects of consciousness arise, be they thoughts, be they feelings, notice them arising. Once these objects are noticed, return your attention to the breath. These instructions are very straightforward and simple, but surprisingly in practice, they are very, very difficult to follow. This difficulty is why we have mindfulness experts, gurus, yogis. I am not one of them. I simply try my best to follow these instructions, and I find it really difficult to do so. But I also find it extremely rewarding and beneficial to me and my well-being. I see mindfulness meditation as like going to the gym, like a workout for my mind. Just like leg day trains your legs to be better at doing leg things, running faster, lifting heavier, being less prone to injury. Mind day, if such a day existed at the gym, would train your mind to be better at doing mind things. Directing your attention, regulating your emotions, engaging in your relationships, thinking more effectively. You can call it the emotional gym, the mindful gym, the cognitive gym, the mental gym, the consciousness gym. I don't mind. That's just how I like to see it. One of my favourite quotes comes from a guy called Anthony de Mello. We see people and things not as they are, but as we are. Let me expand on that for a moment. Have you noticed that sometimes when you're happy, the world is class? Everybody is sound. The birds are singing. Things are great. And have you ever noticed that when you are angry, the world is shite? Everybody's a dickhead. The traffic is loud. Things are muck. Mindfulness gives us an opportunity to notice how we are. An opportunity to investigate how we are. Mindfulness equips us to investigate this sense of self and how it might change from moment to moment. Mindfulness is very worthwhile and not an absolute steaming heap of shite as I described it only a few years ago. Now remember de Mello's quote, we see people and things not as they are, but as we are. We see people and things not as they are, but as we are. Now, I invite you all to think about a person that you didn't like the first time you met them, but you like them now. How are you feeling when you first met them? Did you dislike them because they were unfriendly? Have they become more friendly? Maybe you were in bad humour the day you met them. Can you think of another instance in which the way you felt impacted your attitudes toward something or someone? I invite you all to share your ideas with the class. So in summary, I hope I've been able to convince you, at the very least a little bit, that our minds are worth paying attention to. They are worth our consideration, and they are worth investing time in to help us understand them better. Next week, I'll be talking you through a simple guided meditation. Now, if you don't think meditation is for you, that's absolutely fine. But I'd encourage you to give it a try, and I'd be very surprised if you didn't take at least a little something from it. I look forward to chatting to you next week.